the start of the podcast, you spoke about the vagus nerve.
Yes.
I'd love to revisit that.
Mhm.
Fair to say the most important nerve of your body?
Absolutely. The master nerve that controls literally everything in the body.
Can we talk about the sympathetic nervous system and the parasympathetic nervous system?
Yes.
Related to the vagus nerve?
Yes.
Go for it.
So think about driving a car, right? Same car, if you put it in the forward gear, it's going to go forward. If I put it in reverse, it's going to go backwards. Same car, same wheel, same engine, everything. Our nervous system is the same. If I'm in fight and flight, a very different set of chemicals will be activated in my body, especially the stress hormone cortisol or adrenaline. If I put my nervous system in the relaxed mode, vagus nerve will be activated. When I do that, I'll fight inflammation. I'll make my immune system stronger. I'll make my brain neurons even stronger. So very different things are happening. Every single cell in the body is going to behave very differently.
This can happen outside of sleep and meditation.
Absolutely.
So it definitely happens during your sleep and meditation.
Yes. And
But
you probably see that in your Whoop, right?
yeah.
You see the heart rate vary, like different markers change so much.
Using the Whoop has been the most important thing I've done in my late 20s and early
Yes.
30s. Definitely, my stress levels fall in phases of my sleep.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I meditate, it goes down like crazy. I feel incredible post meditation. I feel incredible if I've had a good night's rest.
Yeah.
But you're saying, as a doctor, that there's a way to stimulate your parasympathetic nervous system. There's a way to activate your vagus nerve outside of meditation and sleep.
Yes.
How?
There's so many ways you can actually do it. So what I typically tell my patients is come up with a prescription of things they're going to do every single day to activate the vagus nerve. If meditation is not their cup of tea, don't worry about it. Even things like walking in nature, listening to certain types of music, taking a hot bath, going into the sauna, right? Journaling, writing down your feelings, praying. All of those things can actually activate your vagus nerve so tremendously. So, and think about it just like as a muscle, right? If you wanted to get stronger, you have to activate it every single day. And every day you're going to make it so that you're able to handle more stress without snapping into that fight and flight. That's the ultimate goal. Stress is not going away, right? We're not here to hide from the stress. What we're trying to do is make our nervous system so strong and resilient that whenever stress does come, we're not just ending up in the fight and flight forever. That we're able to still activate our vagus nerve so we can recover much faster.
Also, if you're ambitious, stress is just going to keep increasing in your life.
Exactly.
So you
It's
have to
inevitable.
figure out these hacks. And these are hacks.
Yes.
Last night,
Mm-hmm.
a podcast with Mr. Beast got scheduled, which is what we're going for right after this. And I had to realign 4 podcasts to just make room for this one.
Yeah.
My Whoop stress meter kind of broke. It flattened out at the top.
Yes.
And I knew I'm not going to be able to sleep. So I did what I normally do, which is that I did a light stretching session for 15 to 20 minutes. And I sat to pray and meditate after that. Before I began the stretching session, I did a breathing exercise, Anulom Vilom.
Yes.
What do you call it in English?
Alternate nostril breathing. Yeah.
Alternate nostril breathing. Set my brain straight, stretched, prayed, meditated, slept well, woke up well, meditated when I woke up. And this has been my routine to handle the level of anxiety that I feel as a YouTuber, moreover as a podcaster. Anyway, that's a whole other conversation. But my point is, do you think stretching, meditating, praying, these are quicker ways to activate your vagus nerve?
Absolutely. And we need those, right? So I use the analogy of a cell phone, right? You have your mobile phone, you're using it all day long. It's draining the battery. You have to charge it every day for it to work. There's so many things, stress pulling us in different direction that drains our battery. Emotional, mental, spiritual, physical, all sorts of batteries. How are you recharging it? Right? So pick something that you enjoy doing, that you can tap into in a moment's notice and make it part of your daily routine. So whether as soon as you wake up, it's 5 minutes of just breathing, 5 minutes of meditating, or 5 minutes even journaling before you go to bed, whatever it is, make it part of your life. And that's going to help maintain your level of battery, that energy that we all seek in.
Do you think it's subjective for everyone?
It can vary. So this is what I do in my practice. So I'll give you a real life scenario, what I actually do. So when I see these CEOs, these billionaires, they have a harder time understanding. They obviously are stressed, but they're like, yeah, but I'm also doing all this work. Stress is inevitable. I can handle it. So I put this little device on them that measures that heart rate variability in real time, but it also has this really cool feature where I can set it at different levels and it will vibrate. So once it goes below a certain point, when you're entering the fight and flight, it'll vibrate a little bit. So then that's how in real time you know, oh, this conversation, this argument I'm having with my loved one, me getting stuck in traffic, like what are the real situation scenarios that are putting me in fight and flight? And it's not that obvious to people. We think we know what's stressing us out, but we don't really know. So by having that data, you know, every time I have this conversation, this meeting, this situation, I'm going to fight and flight. It's not worth it. If I'm running like late for a train, it's not worth me going to fight and flight. So when that thing vibrates, you take a pause, you take 3 deep breaths to reset your nervous system, activate the vagus nerve. So when you become conscious of this, it becomes part of your life. And then you recognize situations that need a lot of work that you need to pay attention to. So it's hyper-focused, hyper-personalized approach to stress management by combining the technology and by combining some yoga-based techniques.
So generally speaking, if I'm dealing with a high stress day and I have an hour, as a doctor, what would you advise me to do in that hour?
Withdraw your senses, close your eyes, right? Don't speak for at least 5-10 minutes. Focus on your breath, take deep breaths. That's the best way to reset your nervous system and get your vagus nerve activated.
Okay.
And the more stressed you are, the more often you need to take these breaks.
I know for a fact that the pace of your breathing can severely affect your mind and your consciousness and how you view the world. So say if you're feeling very stressed, if you're feeling very anxious, what's the quickest way to bring down that anxiety? Is there a breathing technique?
So the best technique for this is called diaphragmatic breathing. What you're using is a secret muscle that we all have between our lungs and our belly called diaphragm. Most of the times when we're breathing right here. That muscle is not even being used. Right? We're shallow breathers. In order to activate the vagus nerve, we have to use that muscle because the vagus nerve goes right through it.
So you breathe through your stomach?
Exactly. So you expand your belly as you're breathing in. You relax your belly as much as possible. And then you breathe out just from your nose or even from your mouth if that's easier for you to begin with. Yes. The goal is to prolong the exhalation more than inhalation. When you do that, you get more vagus nerve activity. So just taking a nice deep breath in through your nose and then out through your mouth, almost like you're blowing out a candle, but doing it very, very slowly. Even if you do it for 3 or 5 breaths, I've seen it. I've had people hooked up with different sensors. Within 3 breaths, you can get out of fight and flight.
I feel high right now.
Right? It does. It actually secretes endorphins, the same chemicals that you get when you exercise. So even 3 breaths can be a game changer when used in the right way.
I highly recommend the listeners to pause the video and do this immediately. And then continue watching the video. But pause it right now.